49-year-old Lance Dawes has been taken into custody after killing 3 police officers and a police dog and injuring many others during a shootout at his home. The incident occurred on the evening of the 30th of June 2022 when officers showed up at Lance's house at 98 Main Street in Allen City, Kentucky. They had a warrant for his arrest in a domestic violence incident. Lance's wife accused him of rape and sodomy. She got approved for an apartment, but her attempted move enraged Lance, and he held her and their daughter captive in their home just days prior to the shooting incident. Lance appeared to be waiting for law enforcement as they tried to serve the warrant. He barricaded himself inside the home with his wife and daughter and opened fire at responding officers. Floyd County Sheriff John Hunt said they encountered pure hell when they arrived. They had no chance. Deputies had not even made contact with the suspected shooter when the gunfire began. He said it went on for hours, and respondents were not sure initially where the gunfire was coming from. This guy seemed to have a plan, and he executed that plan to almost precision, he said. It's reported that 8 people were shot in the attack. A police dog was fatally shot as well. 4 other law enforcement officers were injured, with 2 still hospitalised who are in a stable condition. 1 officer was treated for carbon monoxide poisoning, as he had to stay under a car for hours to avoid being shot. The deputies called for backup, and several agencies responded, including state police, officers from neighbouring counties, and a SWAT team. An emergency services director who responded to the scene was also shot and injured and received medical care at a hospital. Floyd County Attorney Keith Bartley said there was no doubt multiple weapons were used and lots of ammunition, describing the scene as a war zone. There's no question that this was a mass shooting, he said. When I say it was a war zone when I pulled into this area, you're talking about people with fatigues, people with body armour, people with night vision, people with assault weapons. If that's not a war zone, I don't know what is. The standoff ended when Lance was taken into custody at around 10 p.m. that night. His wife and daughter were unharmed. Lance is held at the Pike County Jail on a $10 million bond, where he faces multiple counts of murder and attempted murder. The authorities are looking for a man wanted in the fatal shooting of 18-year-old Isaiah Hall. The incident occurred at 11:54 p.m. on the 1st of July 2022 at a parking lot outside a closed Walmart located at 19,301 Cantrell Road in Little Rock, Arkansas. The police responded to the scene on reports of shots fired. However, on their way they were told that the victim, who was identified as 18-year-old Isaiah Hall, was transported to a local hospital in a private car, but died due to his injuries. The authorities said that the incident started as a disturbance, but quickly escalated into gunfire. During their investigation, detectives said they identified 19-year-old Michael Wilson as the suspect in the killing. The authorities obtained an arrest warrant for Michael, who's wanted for first-degree murder, and are currently searching for him. A gas station employee named Matt Gardner, who works nearby the Walmart, said he's not shocked by the crime, because just days before the homicide, he too was a victim of a crime. To be honest, I was almost robbed out the side of my store the other night, and it shook me up pretty good, and I count down every night the minutes till closing, he said. Matt said that despite what happened, justice needs to be served. That kid has lost his life, and that other kid has ruined his now. It's not something that should be held lightly, he said. Matt said action needs to be taken. It's not going to be corrected without correct actions, he said. 3-year-old Akai Stilo has died after getting hold of a gun and accidentally shooting himself. The incident occurred at around 4:40 a.m. on the 1st of July 2022, inside an apartment located near the intersection of 20th Street and Juneau Avenue in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. After accidentally shooting himself, Akai was found in a critical condition. He was rushed to the Children's Wisconsin Hospital, where a medical examiner pronounced him dead shortly thereafter. A 28-year-old woman has been arrested in connection to the accidental shooting. The father does not live with the mother or the child, and said he was not even aware there was guns in their house. The boy's grandmother lamented and said this was an avoidable tragedy. Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson tweeted, "I'm disturbed by all the gun deaths in Milwaukee, but when the victim's 3 years old, I'm horrified. There are too many guns in the hands of people who should not have them. All weapons must be locked and secured in a home." Milwaukee police remind people to keep firearms locked with a gun lock and secured in an area out of reach of children. A nearby resident said, "I'm for people having guns to protect themselves, but you have to be responsible. For a 3-year-old to get access to a firearm is just super irresponsible." The investigation into the matter continues. On the 29th of June 2022, 47-year-old William McHugh and 38-year-old Karina McHugh were arrested after being on the run since their 10-year-old daughter Zoe McHugh died in a house fire in April this year. The fugitive unit located them living somewhere along the Appalachian Trail. The couple had been charged with cruelty to children and false imprisonment after a fire broke out at their home just before 5 a.m. on the 17th of April, located at 4430 Beaver Road in Loganville, Georgia, killing one of their 5 children. After the fire was extinguished, Zoe was found dead in a windowless room. Her body was discovered in a makeshift bed in a bathtub. The investigators initially arrested the child's 15-year-old brother on arson charges, but the investigators determined that the children had been living in squalor with no running water. They discovered that there was inadequate plumbing in the house, no sewerage, the toilets and showers did not work, and that some of the children didn't even know how to use toilet paper. There was inadequate food kept inside the house, and children had to relieve themselves in buckets, and none of the children had a shower for months. The children were not allowed to leave the home for years, and did not attend school. After police put out a warrant for the couple's arrest, they vanished. They were last seen at a hotel in Lawrenceville, and driving a white Honda Accord around Norcross. The couple were later found on the Appalachian Trail near the alpine town of Helen in Georgia. The couple were arrested and taken to the Gwinnett County Police Department. They've both been charged with first and second degree cruelty to children and false imprisonment, and they're being held without bond. It's unclear if they face additional charges or why they went on the run. The couple's 4 surviving children were placed into protective custody. It's unclear if the teen who set the fire is still facing charges. 45-year-old Joseph Gourley has been arrested and charged with murder in the fatal shooting of his 36-year-old girlfriend Jessica Garcia following a crash. The incident occurred on the afternoon of the 1st of July 2022 when the authorities responded to the intersection of East 5th Street and North Wilmot Road in Tucson, Arizona, after receiving reports of a 2-vehicle crash involving a Dodge truck and a Kia Soul. When officers arrived at the scene, they found Jessica unresponsive in the truck with a gunshot wound. Witnesses saw Joseph exit the truck and flee the scene. The police later found Joseph in a nearby yard and took him into custody. The investigators learned that Joseph was driving the truck at the time of the collision when he reportedly exited the vehicle and shot Jessica before running away. Jessica was transferred to the St. Joseph's Hospital but died a short time later. 2 occupants of the Kia Soul were also taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The motive of the attack is unclear. Joseph is held at the Pima County Jail and is charged with first-degree murder and may face additional charges as the investigation into the matter continues.